My God, I think I'm freaking out. Too many drinks, too many rounds. I'm in the clouds, no coming down.
Oh, dude, I'm totally freaking out.
Oh my God, you got me peeking out.
Hello and welcome to the very first episode of K-pop Tea Time with your host, the totally not fake British guy, Large William. Do us a favour and hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel and, by golly, it helps us feel better about ourselves. And now your host, Large William. Oh, hello there. Good evening, afternoon, good day, whenever you're watching this video. Large William here. Larger Paul could not be with us today. He works, but you've got me and I've got this coffee. And we are going to discuss all of the current happenings in K-pop news. I guess without further ado and hoo-ha, let's jump right into the news. So here we are at Soompi.com. Let us just cover some of the stories and I will break down my thoughts and feelings on the matter. The very first one and the must read is the update on BTS's and Jungkook being questioned for a minor car accident and Big Hit's official statement. So if you're not familiar, about a week ago, Jungkook was in a car accident. Why this young lad was driving his own car with his particular status in this world is beyond me, or just asking for trouble. But obviously, he wants a semblance of freedom. And he wants to feel like he's not constantly monitored, so I understand. But still, it seems like an illogical and, dare I say, stupid decision, considering anybody could recognize you and just slam their car into you for fame or other nefarious means. Let's read. Big Hit Entertainment has released an official statement regarding the car accident that Jungkook was involved in. It is as follows. This is a state I always like. You know, we read these Soompi things, and I always really rather enjoy the large purple and blue quote icons that they use. I find them visually pleasing. Moving on. This is a statement regarding Jungkook's car accident. The police have not yet closed this case, so we cannot reveal the exact details. But Jungkook was driving his car last week when he had a minor collision with another vehicle due to his own mistake. Both the victim and Jungkook did not sustain any major injuries. Jungkook admitted that he had violated Road Traffic Act immediately after the accident. The scene of the accident was resolved and police questioning was completed according to the due process, and amicable settlement was made with the victim afterwards. We once again apologize to the victim, and we also express apologies for causing fans concern. Thank you. So I haven't followed this story very closely, but it does seem, from what I've read in the police investigation, and if there was actual alcohol being used, that it would have been a very newsworthy thing. It would have come out early in the process. It did not. And it was probably just a simple accident. Again, it's a stupid thing. If it was anybody but Jungkook, no one would care. And even though it is Jungkook, I certainly don't care. I'm glad everyone's alright. Except my accent, which just became momentarily Australian. And we can all move on now. The proper people have been paid off. Send the chap on his way. Give him enough money to keep his mouth shut, you know. Mobster style. Next story, and possibly some of the bigger news to happen in the last 3 days or so. CL has been confirmed to leave YG Entertainment, and I myself could not be more pleased. You see, CL, if you're not familiar, is from a group called 21 or 2NE1, depending upon how anal you want to be in the pronunciation of their band name. I say to each his own. But she has gone through many a transition, many a drama, and with the recent disbandment of 21, she was desperately trying to find herself in a multiple failed attempts to break into the United States market. I think we all know how poorly that went. But CL has officially left YG after they were unable to come to amicable terms for re-signing. Now YG has released an official statement saying, hello, those wonderful little quotation marks again, I tell you I love those things. This is YG Entertainment. Respecting each other's opinions, we came to an agreement with CL to end her exclusive contract. We express deep gratitude to the fans who have shown for CL. We express deep gratitude to the fans who have shown for CL. You bloody Americans, you damn school system. Moving along. Who shinned with her activities as an artist of YG. Or shined. Who putting the cart before the horse, eh? Right. Who shined with her activities as an artist of YG. At YG, CL debuted with 2NE1 in 2009, and while promoting as leader and rapper, she led trends in various areas, including music and fashion. She also left a mark in the history of K-pop when she became the first Korean solo female artist to chart on Billboard's Hot 100 in October 12th, 2016. And if you're not familiar with that song, I believe it was this one. That one always gets me fired up. Damn it, CL. Vixen. We ask for lots of interest and support for CL's new activities, and YG will also cheer her on with unchanging trust and affection. Thank you. As a stuffy British man, I can tell you that this has corporate speak written all over it. It's almost like they found the whitest person they could find in a suit and had him write this. It reeks of bullshit that often anything from the corporate world does. But it covers them on any kind of legal note, and it makes them look like they're parting ways amicably when I'm sure they would have rather hung on to her and kept her locked in the basement with Lee Hi and Park Bom. Now, from my opinion on the matter, YG has had so much negative press lately, and they have lost artist after artist for one reason or another, whether it be drugs or scandal. This cites the only artist I can think of in recent memory that has left YG not being forced out. In a sad way, this is a win for them. That being said, I hope CL discontinues her attempts to break into the American market. I do not believe she will. I believe it is a foolhardy attempt, and I do not believe she will ever succeed there just because it's never been a good fit. But I believe that if she was to sign with P Nation, Psy's new record label that both Hyuna and Edon, now known as Dawn, signed under, I believe she would thrive there. She would be able to reinvent herself while still keeping herself the same, much as Hyuna did. To bring a invigorating, a new feeling to her career, both personally and from an outward perspective. I hope she takes this route, but more than anything, I wish her the best. And now we get to the meat and potatoes, as you Yanks would say. The fish and chips, the tea and crumpets, if you will. SBS reports that An Jun-young admits to manipulating rankings for Producer 48 and Produce X 101, meaning that the first 2 seasons, they claim, were not manipulated, meaning IOI and whatever the devil that boy group was no one cares about, were not a product of manipulated vote counts or any type of scamming, but as a result of actually being formed by the will of the people who are voting. Now, that being said, since the producing director has admitted to the manipulation of the results, on November 5th, 2 arrest warrants for production staff of Produce X 101 were issued, including one for the show's producer director An Jun-young. SBS reported on November 6th that out of the 4 seasons of the Produce 101 series, he only admitted to manipulating the results of the first 2 seasons, as I stated, which means As I've stated multiple times in my life, IOI for life. Andrew Young has been arrested on suspicion as fraud and breach of trust by taking bribery. According to SBS, the police have found that starting from the second half of last year, I'm just going to call him AJ from now on. He will be referred to as AJ because my British tongue does not work that way. AJ has been entertained over 40 times at an adult entertainment establishment in Gangnam, paid for by agencies. The total amount spent for this is said to be over 100 million won, approximately $86,355 US. SBS reports that during police questioning, AJ admitted to the suspicion of manipulating the rankings of Produce X101 as well as Produce 48. He denied the suspicions of manipulating the first and second seasons of Produce 101. IOI for life. On November 5th, the police conducted a search and seizure of the additional agencies that houses a trainee whose ranking is suspected of having been manipulated. The police are continuing their investigations into the auditions programmed produced by Mnet. Now, for my opinion, as I've stated, IOI is the superior of all four of these groups. IOI for life. Not only the predecessor, the progenitor, but the superior. Now, that being said, now there is talk of both the new guy group, whose name I still do not know because I did not follow them, and IZ*ONE having a disbandment early. There's already been multiple occasions where their shows have been cancelled. People have pulled them off of programs where they were meant to perform, etc. You get the point. But the bigger question, and the question that everyone has been asking, and myself, I have wrestled with this myself a little bit. Should we disband the group? Should we call for the disbandment of both of the current groups, IZ*ONE and the irrelevant boy group? And the answer is a resounding, I still don't know. I have not come to a conclusion. In my head, it's a very difficult decision because leaving them together justifies in some ways the actions that were taken to make them together. To build that group essentially was a lie. And you are reinforcing that lie and that behavior because people and agencies will still be profiting off of those things. And that seems extremely immoral and sets a bad precedent going forward. Now, that being said, so far I've heard no indication that the members themselves and the idols themselves had anything to do with the manipulating. So until that comes out, I will assume their innocence. And in assuming their innocence, they have nothing to do with this. To their knowledge, they simply won the show. They simply competed at a high enough level or won the hearts and minds of the audience enough to earn their position. Now, whether that actually happens to be the case is kind of irrelevant if they were not aware of the shenanigans going on behind the scenes. So I would have to say, from that perspective, they should be allowed to finish out the continued contracts, maybe with a shortened contract for the guy group, not only to sort of send a message, but also because I don't care about them, and I really just don't care. Girl group supremacist, you know what I'm saying? I suppose if I was handed the reins to the investigation and the power to make the decisions, based on the information at hand presently, I would say I would probably disband both groups, but allow them to keep their money and any prizes earned, because it's not fair to take everything away from the idols. I would also make it very clear in my decision to do so that the idols had absolutely nothing to do with it, at least as of right now, and make sure they were free and clear of any additional or further scrutiny, as much as within my power to do. But justice still must be upheld. Either way, those are my 2 quid. What are yours? comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you like this video and you want to see more like it, let me know in the comments if you enjoy this type of content. Because I will really do it up next time, and I'll get one of those big fancy rich white guy chairs. And I do have a fireplace I can sit by. I'm just saying. Cheers. And keep on popping, K-poppers. For remember, it is not a trend. It's a lifestyle. Cheerio. Thank you for joining us on our first episode of K-Pop Tea Time with your totally not fake British host, Large Will, who inexplicably decided to drink a large cup of coffee on a show called K-Pop Tea Time. Unironically, I might add.